Hello again, this is David Cooper, your instructor, and this video is what I'm going to call video 3, and it's called Getting Connected. So what we're going to do in this lab, and which you will do in lab, but I'll show you the video now of how to do it prior to coming in to do the lab, show you how to get connected from your PC at the training station and the PLC. So it's a relatively short process to get it done, and we're going to use a software called RS Links. If you look, and it should be in the upper right hand corner of your desktop, you should see 3 software packages. One called RS Links that I'm hovering over now. Studio, and that's the communication software. Studio 5000, which is the PLC programming software, which we will get to real soon. And the third one I didn't mention in my hardware overview, Factory Talk View Studio. Those are the 3 software packages that we will use throughout the semester. Factory Talk View Studio is for programming the HMI touchscreen, and we will get to that a little bit later in the semester. So first of all, check and see, and if you need to review the hardware overview, please do so, but make sure that you have a USB cable plugged into the USB connector on your PLC, on your training station. It is in the lower left-hand corner on the front of the PLC. And we're going to assume that the other end is plugged into the USB port of the PC. Also, make sure that you have some lights on at the top of the PLC. If you don't, there is a on-off toggle switch on the back right of the trainer, but I intend on having these on and running. And there is a very simple program in the PLC right now for purposes of getting connected, but check and make sure on the upper left-hand side on the front of the PLC you should have some green lights. The top green light should be solid and it says run. There should be 2 more green lights on the lower, not the lower of the upper part, that says IO and OK. All those lights should be solid green, and that's a good sign. That means the PLC is in the run mode, the IO is okay, and the processor itself, the PLC, is okay. There probably will be a green light on the upper right hand side of that group of lights that is blinking green. That is okay too. And when you look at the IO, there should be some IO, probably in this case 2 of them, that are on and are amber color. I will explain that a little bit later, especially when you start doing IO checks. But for now, make sure your PLC is in that condition. Now, we will go to the software called RS Links on the icon and double click on it. Now, for purposes making it easier to see, I will maximize this screen and go up to where it says Communications. If you can see me hovering over that with the arrow, click on it and do what's called an RS Who. RS Who means that it will look for who is connected to RS Links Classic. Now, right now, we don't have to configure any drivers. We will have to do that when we go to Ethernet, but right now we're good just to do an RS2. The driver that you will see coming up, you should have at the bottom left-hand side when you look at my arrow, a USB driver. That comes on automatically if you are connected to the PLC and the PLC is on with the USB cable. Now that's a good thing because that means you are actually communicating to the PLC, but let's confirm that a little further. Now later on, up here at the top where it says AB, Ethernet, IP, and the ETH stands for Ethernet, Ethernet IP, that's where we will put in a driver that will connect over our Ethernet network. That's just a little bit later. It won't be too long till we do that. So for now, I'm going to click on the plus mark on the left side of the USB, and what we should do is see our PLC. That is the part number that you see right here. And I have a program running in yours now that should be called test station, and it should have the number of your test station after it. So that, and you'll see it over here with a little icon that is supposed to look kind of like a PLC. I will once again expand that, click on the plus mark, and you will see a port called Ethernet and an internal bus called point bus, which all the I/O is connected to, including the expansion I/O that's on the right-hand side of the PLC. So I will click on the plus mark on the point bus, and it will now show us everything that's on the PLC. Now this is a compact logic. It has I/O embedded into the PLC, and you will see that. So you will see some different, and these numbers here, 00, 01, 02, 03, 04, are called slot numbers. There's no really slots per se on this PLC. On its bigger one and on the expansion, you can consider those slots where you can slide in a additional input or output card. So they still go by that naming convention. But on the left side, what's considered slot 0 is the PLC itself, and it's running a program called Test Station 6. Next to it is the input and output, the embedded input-output that I talked about in the hardware overview, which is 16 points of input. If I hover over it, it'll come up. 16 points of 24-volt DC inputs, and 16 points of, goes away if I hover too long, 16-point output, 24-volt DC. Then it shows the 3 expansion cards. So expansion card 2, if I hover it over, is a 4-point current input analog card. The next one is a 2-point current output analog card. And the third one is a 2-point thermocouple input card. These 3 we will configure and use later. Right now, we just got to make sure that it shows they are there. So with this said, we are connected. Now, it will be a good thing when you come into class, come in the lab, and you will eventually have to start downloading the program you have from the previous lab into your PLC and do it with RS Links running. So it's always a good thing to start RS Links and confirm that you are communicating. Now, once we start, and we won't do it in this video, it'll be the next one, where we start using the programming software. But this is a good thing to confirm your communications, because if you're not connected, you can't go any further except do some offline programming. But as far as getting your program to run and download it to the PLC, you have to be connected. And it's always a good thing to make sure when you come in that you are connected. So with that said, I'm going to end this video, and that's all you have to do, the first short lab. And we may do probably will do multiple labs sometimes in a lab. If they are short, we will get to the point where the labs are much longer, and then a lot of times your labs will continue into the next week from the previous. Labs build on each other. So you will add to your project, which we will show you in the next video how to start a new project. You will add to that. Now, it's probably a good time to tell you that one of the things that you need to get is a flash drive or a thumb drive, whatever you want to call it. I would recommend buying a new one. You don't have to, but I would highly recommend you buy one and dedicate it to this class. You can get 8 or 16 gig flash drives for under $10. In some cases, like $6 now. So it's not an expense, but you need to have that with you, because every lab, at the end of the lab, you will back up your project to your flash drive. You will also back it up to the hard drive on the computer in a space called thaw space, which is not affected by a program we have called Deep Freeze, which you may have heard of already. But I want to make sure we have at least 2 places to back up your project, because eventually your project the file will get larger and larger, and if you were to lose it, then you're in a world of hurt. So I want to make sure that you have at least 2 places to back up your program to. So I will remind you of this in the first class when everybody comes, but this is getting connected. Have to do this first. So I'm going to end this, and I'm going to go ahead and close this window and close out RS links. Actually, what you will do when you come in the lab, at this point, you will minimize it, and you will see RS links as an icon in the bottom of the screen, which means that it is running. So you will keep it minimized while you start. So the next video, we will start by using Studio 5000. So anyway, that's all for this video, and see you next time.